everyone. I am Varnika Gupta, and this presentation today is a part of I Am the Future series. In this series, we are speaking with various business leaders at Infosys, and today I have with me Preeti Jalla Razdan, delivery partner at Infosys. Thank you, Preeti, for being a part of this series. Thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with us.
Hi, Varnika. Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Preeti, let's begin by knowing you a bit more. How would you describe yourself? What are those two, three adjectives that you will use to describe yourself?
So I'll take three of it for myself. First one being to be creative and being a self starter, trying to do things differently and trying to motivate the team around as well to ideate, innovate, and do things differently, whether it is for day to day tasks or it could be something to do with a path breaking thing. Second one for me would be empathy. That means to have a very right balance between rationality and being sensitive to the people who are around and respecting all the perspectives. And third one, which is top of my list, would be being resilient. That means taking the problems head on. There will be challenges, not to change your goal. And to achieve the goal, failures will be there on the path, not to lose the self confidence and come back, bounce back from all the setbacks.
What is the originating source of these lovely qualities that you just spoke about? Tell us about your childhood. What were your parents like? Did they encourage you to be this this resilient, this participative, curious that you were just speaking about?
So absolutely, first from parents, certainly it was very supportive childhood. It was a lot of focus around having an all-round development, a personality which has to be well-rounded. So I was very active on extracurricular activities while studies being the key part of it. By the way, I'm a graduate in Indian classical Kathak dance form. So probably whatever has come in terms of a well-rounded personality, that has really helped me. And one of the key thing when I talk of being resilient, the thing has been what I have seen across within the family, within the community, how people have come out from the challenges which they faced when they were having problems in their ancestral places and how they got uprooted from there, but still they were able to establish themselves, were able to make themselves successful as a community and continue the culture, continue being looking forward. So that has been really inspirational for me. And when I would talk about gender biases, I think I've seen that in the society across, while it was not in the family. But I think I used to question that in the childhood, why there is a gender bias when I used to look it around while it was not in the family. And the answer to that for my parents and my close family was that if you want to question that by proving yourself as a role model. And leadership is not about that somebody is going to give you that. It is more about that you have to take it, do it, and prove it. So I used to hear a lot of inspirational stories, whether it is national, international leaders. But something which actually continued in my mind was nobody told Gandhiji, go and fight. He took it upon himself, and the rest is the history. We had a great leader. So I think that was a great impact.
Sure, sure. Take it, do it, and prove it. Very, very nicely put, Preeti. So, Preeti, can you tell us about what were the things that you were observing around you? Because you were so observant, you were so inquisitive, you were asking the right questions. So, what were those things that were happening around you that have made you the person you are today? That left a lasting impression on your personality?
I picked up leadership qualities because I was given a role of head girl in quite a few years when I was in the schooling. And something which I learned from that was given in a framework which has its own value, how to take people along and drive things, whatever activities are given to you. And I was quite participative, and I feel my personality got developed starting with that. And as I told you that I was very active on extracurricular activities, I got a very good exposure to have a all-rounded 360-degree personality. And that was purely because of the exposure I got. If I tell you an example, from my childhood I was part of Kalidas Academy, through which I could learn various dance forms, I could appreciate various forms of art and literature. And that all somewhere I feel I had a respect for all diverse thoughts, all diverse cultures. And today, if I am in the role where I'm expected to manage multiple teams globally, this somewhere comes very naturally. But maybe somewhere that is what was there behind as an experience. I was also very active when it comes to debates, speeches, getting into those competition, winning awards. But again, if you see the homework which was there behind was to learn about various topics, understanding the core of it, understanding the people and personalities around, what are the current affairs, what is the history to it, and then building up something which is your opinion out of it and fearlessly putting it across. And I feel somewhere in current days when you are managing your businesses, when you are in your professional life, some of these things are very, very important traits to have. Next one I would tell you is during my childhood, I used to see my dad doing a lot of social volunteering work. And I used to go with him to various places. The pain which is there around within the society, whether it was gender bias or things at large, because diversity is not only about gender, it is about gender and many more other things. So I could see that, I could understand, and somewhere that empathy which got built because of that really helps to understand people around, whether it is good times or bad times when we are leading businesses. So I think that is what helped me a lot.
Preeti, what kind of, other than these activities and the experiences, what kind of people were influencing you? Who were your icons growing up?
First, my mom, I would say, she was very particular. She was like, day to day tasks certainly you will learn over a period of time, but you have to prioritize your hard skills. That is where you have to spend time, you have to invest time and learn it. You have to create your niche and stand out of crowd. That is what is required. So that was very clear. That was very inspiring, rather, I would say, coming from my mom every day, time and again. Then I used to hear a lot of inspiring stories, following a lot of personalities, whether it is Indira Gandhi, Margaret Thatcher, Kiran Bedi, in the early days of growing up, and a lot of social reformists who are there, like Raja Rammohn Rai, Ishwar Chandra Bandyopadhyay. I had a lot of respect for such personalities who worked for specifically women cause. My grandmom, to talk about, she used to tell me a lot of stories. Give an example of one was Kashyap Bandhu, who was a reformist in Kashmir, and how people worked through the tough things, the tough circumstances, and still were sticking on to the cause and were able to successfully make the dent, make the change which they wanted to really do. Today, I see that. I really appreciate it because I can feel it. I can see it, how tough it is, and how tough or difficult it would have been in those days. So, yeah, I think some of these things really had a great impact. These were the icons I would call.
Coming to your journey at Infosys, Preeti, why and when did you decide that Infosys is the place you would like to, pursue your professional goals, and what is it that you love the most about your job?
It's a long list. If I had to pick one, it would be the opportunity and the flexibility which I get while I'm playing a role. I have opportunity to cut across, play variety of, take a variety of initiatives, lead variety of different type of teams, whether it could be solutions, whether it could be different type of initiatives. It is not sticking to, if this is the basic role, just going around and limiting myself. So I feel that spread which is there across, right, while I'm in my core role, is something I liked, and it actually gave me a good opportunity to develop myself, learn, evolve and grow. That is one. And if I go back, which I am really passionate and it's close to my memory always, is my first project, which was actually reviewed by legendary Mr. Narayan Murthy. And I was very cautious at that time, obviously, of his personality, and I have to go through that review. But seriously, that's how the leaders are, right? That simple gesture, simple words of appreciation and encouragement, which I got at that time, really was something uh, which was great for me. It gave me a lot of strength and confidence to move on. Absolutely.
Preeti, because you touched upon how gender and how inclusivity and gender dynamics they have been very important and very core to your personality. What was there ever a time when you felt that you were underappreciated or you felt left out because of your gender, and how did you tackle it back then, if it happened at all?
So, what I largely feel and I keep always talking about when I speak to everyone is that ours is a transition generation. Technology enabled us to explore the world, pick up the opportunities, and I see numerous women achievers are there today now, which is way better than what was there earlier. Because if I see, role models were very limited when it was about what are people doing in corporate world, but I see that has really worked well. Things are happening, but stereotypes are getting shattered, but still there, I would say that way. Now women are more acceptable as taking up their career seriously, growing up the ladder, taking important roles in businesses across. Now we have a great example even of inclusion of women workforce in Indian armed forces as well, if you talk of the recent one. So questioning status quo was never easy if it is so deep rooted in the society and if it is a mindset issue. So my reaction to all of these things was be positive, contribute, and perform. That is how you will nail it and prove it. Experience has taught me that there is no reason why women should stay behind and should not take up challenging roles. I think we should be confident, and that is where some of these biases will disappear.
You've had diverse experiences during your growing up years, during your formative years. What have some of your biggest challenges that you've faced, and some most valuable learnings you've drawn out of those experiences?
I think challenges include managing multiple roles, conflicting priorities which are there around, bringing same passion every day non-stop, connecting from heart, and still if you don't get the expected results, but then still you come back, bounce back with even greater degree of energy. I feel these are some of the challenges if I have to summarize it together. Very important, and for which I think I would like to say, even if I spoke about so many role models, this is the key thing which has really helped always for me to sustain, and that would be keeping the team ahead of yourself, whether it is to energize people in your team, whether to encourage them, empower them, whosoever is there in your team which is around you. I think that is what makes you successful. So I can't thank everybody, but I think that's a great inspiration always I have gathered from people who are around me. And that always encourages, whether it is friends at workplace, whether it is colleague, whether it is teams, whether it is leaders around, right? So basically building that trust, right? If you want to have that outcome, I think it is very important to have first that trust built within your team. So you need to basically constantly invest into learning. Business can change, technology can change, environment can change, even aspirations can change. But if you have to be relevant, you have to keep learning and keep evolving. That is what I feel.
Passion with purpose, and keep evolving, keep learning. Great messages there, Preeti. Preeti, you've been such a go-getter, and you have, like I said, extremely clear ideas about what you want and how to go about it. What have been some of the risky things probably you have done in your career, and do you think it's important, especially for women, to step out of their comfort zone, to be ahead in their career? Do they have to be risk takers?
I would say I'm actually a combination of all, right? If you talk about depending on the situation, right? So it was always that, okay, you have to question the status quo. It cannot be the same. In that case, if I take an example of taking career, which was challenging and tough, the assignments which were challenging and tough in the career, but going ahead and signing for it, there was a risk taking part of it. Absolutely, yes. Another thing, if you'll talk about going conscious and taking up some of the roles, yeah, there have been instances where I've taken up roles which was not in my comfort zone. right? And I've gone for those roles. Say, for example, it was analyzing the market for new product ideas, which was not my core, but I went ahead and took up that role. And if the third category, if you'll go with somewhere you have to go steady, you have to strengthen and then move, absolutely. There are a lot of leadership roles which I have taken up, building larger teams, strategizing and managing key businesses which are there, key business objectives and stakeholder management which is there. That is where I've seen obviously what has helped me is to go study, sharpen yourself, and then strategize and move with full passion. So that is what I feel is the part of it. So absolutely, I think these are some of the things which we need to take up. If I feel that is my experience, if you want to move forward in the career.
Preeti, what kind of an impact are you hoping to create from your work? What do you want your legacy to be?
So before I answer that question, I would like to also talk about the work which I've tried doing along with my day-to-day work, the role which I pick up in my work is a lot of contribution towards DNI initiatives which I've worked on, whether it is within the organization, with is across the corporates, or whether even for schoolgirls working with different schools. And I have been involved in creating a lot of mentoring programs, enablement programs for women who are there at different career levels. So that's really exciting. That's a very different type of a learning which I gather, and a very different sense of um, success I feel from that is what I achieve. When I've told you some of the stories from the past, right, that connects really well with that. So if I have to take an example, in somewhere year 2018, we were planning to do Women's Day celebration, and uh, we as a team were thinking, what is that we have to do again differently, right? And we don't want to do something which is very regular. So what is important is, if we're talking of professional women in IT industry, what gives them the best accomplishment is something if they are doing their core, and which is coding. So why we thought, why not to start an initiative and run an event which will be just women only hackathon. First, the responses were mixed because people were not sure whether it will really fly, people will come, people will participate, they will even respond. And there is a very strict framework to doing a hackathon. Will they really be ready to do it? And that too over a weekend. And I said, we should go ahead and do it. We should try it. And believe me, the way it picked up, the way we got the responses, the way press coverage was there to the success of this, it was it was even inspiring for me and for everybody who actually organized that event. And from since then, after that, it was no looking back. We continued the event. We had more participants. Rather, people even took that format and template within their organization to run more of these events. That was really wonderful for me. Other than that, I have been working on a lot of DNI initiatives, and conceptualizing and doing successful implementation of a lot of programs, which is made be in executive leadership, building for women, creating platforms for the techies to come together and solve social issues, establish the crash in the workplace so that women employees can come freely during that early days of growing the kids as well as managing their careers. So these are some of the things which really worked well for me. I actually did a lot of work even globally, including clients, so that some of these messages around inclusivity is driven in a very serious and focused way. But to all this thing, really I feel great is it gives positive vibes. And if I was able to do successfully some of the things, thanks to the team who has been around me, working with me, believing in it, and continuing with me to see how the results are coming, how successfully year on year we are doing even more wonderful job. We're able to cover more women at large in whatever range of careers or schooling they are. So I would say मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया.
That's beautiful. आपका कारवा बना रहे और बढ़ता रहे आपका कारवा. Preeti, as closing thoughts, what if say an aspiring professional is looking at this interview, what would you want their takeaway to be, and what can they learn from your journey?
See, what I feel personally, everybody has to look towards is what is that impact you are able to create, right? So look at the bigger picture and get yourself inspired and inspire the people around, right? That is what will help you to go to the right direction, meet your steeper goals which are there. So again, if it is purposeful, it is seen beyond just a job responsibility, I think it does wonders. That is one thing I feel is very important. If I would say from whatever work I have done, this comes from the experience part of it. If I have to tell everybody what they can do, uh, never give up. See yourself as a role model and go ahead, relentlessly aspire and achieve more. If there are negative situations, there are actually opportunities which are dressed up differently. So take the accountability, take the action, fire the passion, overcome all the limitations, and just rock it.
Sure, be your own role model and rocket. This is the best. This could be the best possible ending of this interview. Thank you so much, Preeti, for sharing these wonderful insights and all these lovely stories with us. I'm sure everyone who's watching has so much to learn from these stories. And thank you everyone who tuned in today. Please keep watching this space for more such interviews. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.
Thank you.